I attempted the single hardest game mode in TDS, Hardcore Mode. Hardcore Mode is TDS's most unique game mode, designed entirely around the concept of being as difficult as possible, and with the badge having a win percentage of 0.0%, it is insanely hard. For day 1, I had to relearn a lot of the basics of Hardcore. The mode has a lot of things that make it difficult. Towers and upgrades cost 1.5 times as much, and you don't get cash from damaging zombies, but rather only killing them, meaning it is very hard to get early game towers. Additionally, the mode has custom zombies, which inherently have more health, and special properties which make them hard to kill. Since it was National Cowboy Day, all the zombies also had the Yeehaw modifier on, which did make these runs a bit more bearable. So with all this in mind, these first runs did not go well. There was a lot of losses from Wave 10 onwards, as a mix of ghosts and flying zombies required a specific amount of military bases and ace pilots. There were a few runs which did get further, such as this one, where by having a good variety of ace pilots, military bases, and even some early minigunners, we were able to push past those early game zombies and make it to the next obstacle, the Mega Slow. This boss has a ridiculous 1600 health and spawns on wave 19. Military bases are very important here. You can't really take down the boss with actual towers, so you need a ton of level 2 military bases to slowly chip it down, which we did manage to do, and although it didn't die, it entered our base with only 25 health, letting us survive. However, only 5 waves later, 2 Mega Slows spawned. I sold my farms to try again Excel down, but it was far too late, and we lost the game on wave 25. And this leads into another frustrating aspect of Hardcore, the matchmaking. The waiting for a match takes much longer, due to both the level 50 requirement and the fact that the hardcore elevators are in the same lobby as all of the regular ones. But on day 2, I did find another good run. We had tons of military bases, just enough ace pilots, and managed to get an accelerator down near the front of the map. It looked like we might just barely kill the 2 Mega Slows, but on the very next wave, 3 hidden bosses spawned. They have a combined total of over 2000 health and move very fast. Now the problem with this wave is that it's impossible. Not really, but you need to have multiple accelerators or minigunners to have enough DPS, and this never happened once in my 13 runs. So we lost that game. And then there was one more game which seemed promising. We breezed through the early game fairly easily, and moving into wave 19, one teammate had brought Sledger, an unorthodox pick, but it proved to be very effective as it could freeze and stall a Mega Slow long enough for more melee bases to spawn and actually kill it. Paired with an accelerator, it was looking good, and it seemed like we might actually be able to kill the 2 Mega Slows. But when the hidden bosses spawned, they quickly reached the Sledger, and with 5 zombies to focus on, some slipped through. They did have fairly low health, but it was still enough to end the run. I just don't think Hardcore is really meant to be played with random people. The amount of coordination and strategy you need is just far too high. But there is one other way to play Hardcore, with a strategy. Strategies are running guides which essentially plot out all of the steps for what towers to bring, when to place them, when to upgrade them, etc. These are generally easier since you don't have to strategize at all, but there is a catch that you have to precisely follow all of the steps. So I pulled up the guide on my phone and queued some games. The first game didn't go very well, as I was still learning the strategy and one of my teammates had messed up 1 or 2 steps, and we ended up dying at about the same spot I reached in a lot of my random runs. However, game 2 is where things picked up. The team all knew the strategy, and we made fairly minimal mistakes. We were able to kill the Mega Slow and the Shadow bosses, and from there things actually got slightly easier, as the steps became a bit more loose. Now with accelerators, rangers, and minigunners, we started to cruise through waves. I saw a lot of zombies unique to Hardcore, such as the Fallen Rusher, Fallen Titan, Lead Balloon, the Necromancer boss, and the Fallen Swordmaster. As we passed each successive wave, I started to think that we might actually be able to win. On wave 50, the Void Reaver spawned. The final boss was 1.2 million health. He spawned a huge cascade of minions, which buffered him for the first section of path, but eventually we got through them. The Void Reaver has several attacks which can spawn zombies, stun towers, or even damage your base. But my teammates were chaining Call of Arms and using Mech's ability to counter it, and it was looking like a win. However, the Void Reaver got past the main group of towers with about 200,000 health, meaning we had to try to quickly replace our towers. If the Void Reaver used one of his attacks to spawn souls, we would have lost. But luckily, he did not do that, and we were able to kill the Void Reaver only a short distance from our base, officially beating Hardcore and earning 250 gems. So overall, I have to say that I don't really like Hardcore mode. So yeah, subscribe.